Hello guys, I don't mean to alarm you with the background. It's actually a really short video I'm going to show after I educate on the assassination of Pope John Paul I, which happened in 1978, and how that connects with the current President of the United States, Barack Hussein Obama. So let's jump into it. If you've never seen one of my posts before, I talk about gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words, as well as numerology and dates, and their very, very important significance in our history and current world. So, John Paul I was the Pope for only 33 days, from August 26, 1978, until he was found dead in his bed September 28, 1978. Exactly 33 days. The numerology of the date he died, September 28, 1978, if you add it 9 plus 2 plus 8 plus 1 plus 9 plus 7 plus 8, it sums to 44 in gematria. The word kill sums to 44, which is 11 plus 9 plus 12 plus 12, which you can see on the screen. If you drop the K from kill, it sums to 33 and forms the word ill. John Paul I, the Vatican said, died from illness. And in the case of the Vatican, you guys, this 33 thing goes back to the beginning. Rosary, as in rosary beads, equals 33. Priest equals 33, bishop equals 33. If you go back and look at the oldest basilicas and that you can still go and visit today, they have 33 names. And of course, English didn't exist back then, but think of English as the true telling of history if you can decode the language, which you will come to understand if you watch more of these posts. Anyhow, so John Paul I murdered on the 33rd day with a numerology of 44. What's interesting about the name John Paul I is that if you do John Paul and just add 1 for 1, it sums to 35, which is the same as the gematria of the word Catholic. And in the United States history, the only Catholic president we have had is John F. Kennedy, also named John. John sums to 47 in gematria, just like the word Christian. The opposite of that is Jesus, which sums to 74. And think about how John spread the word of Jesus. Interesting, right? Anyhow, JFK was the 35th president, only Catholic president. He was shot from 411 Elm Street on 11/22. What is 4 times 11? It's 44, is it not? And 11 plus 22, that's 33. That's the first day of Sagittarius. Another big topic. Anyhow, if you sum John Paul I by using the numeral I, as you would commonly do, if you sum it that way, John Paul I or John Paul I that way sums to 44, just like the word kill, just like the numerology of the date he died on. So now let's look at our own nation's history. The first president to ever die while in office was the 9th president, William Henry Harrison. And sorry, I didn't write that sentence right on the screen, but the first president to die in office was the 9th president, William Henry Harrison. The next president to die in office will be the 9th. Only 8 have died while in office. JFK was the last. He was the 8th. The numerology of 35 is 3 plus 5 equals 8. Also interesting, huh? Anyhow, the first president, William Henry Harrison, died on April 4th, 1841. He was the first Whig president. The gematria of Whig is 47, just like the gematria of the word Republican, just like the gematria of the word Caesar, obey, judge. Lots of 47 words. Authority equals 47. Anyhow, moving on in history, Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated April 4th, 1968, a year to the day of coming out against the Vietnam War and the nation's foreign policy, military policy. If you guys have never heard Martin Luther King's speech called Beyond Vietnam, A Time to Break Silence, he gave that speech April 4th, 1967 at the Riverside Church in New York. Got to check that one out. One of the greatest speeches ever. Talk about truth. All right, anyhow. That same year, as everyone remembers, Robert Kennedy gave a famous speech right after MLK was assassinated. 2 months and 2 days later, on June 6, 6/6, he would be shot by Sirhan Sirhan. Well, guess what? The names Robert and Kennedy both sum to 33 in gematria, and the name Sirhan Sirhan, the name Sirhan equals 33, so Sirhan Sirhan equals 66, Robert Kennedy equals 66, and the shooting happened on June 6. Doesn't that sound scripted? Now think about our current president, the 44th president, who opened up his presidency by reopening Ford's Theater where Lincoln was once assassinated. All this stuff is symbolic. He receives an illuminated plaque. You guys, we live in a banker nightmare. Let's watch this. Let's watch this little documentary on the assassination of Pope John Paul. We'll close with that. Thanks.
From the moment of his first papal blessing, the world accepted him with enthusiasm, even joy.
All right. So there were a lot of interesting things there that we could have gone over, but one thing I want to show you before we go away is that Vatican Bank, did you see that, how he wanted to clean up the mafia in the Vatican Bank? Vatican Bank, if you do the gematria of it, sums to 44. So until next time.